Well, hi everybody. I've got to start this video off with an apology. In my last video I did show clips of a heron and what a heron can do and precautions you can take, and I was calling it the blue heron. Now I do stand corrected and I do apologise. The heron in the UK is the grey heron and not the blue heron. The blue heron's more across the pond. We don't get the blue heron here, it's the grey heron. So I'd just like to put that right before we start. It is the grey heron and not the blue heron. What I'm doing here today, I've got the top off the actual Backy River. This actually, I don't know whether you'll see it, let's see if we can get in. This actually runs a bit too full. I'd like that to run emptier, which means we could get more flow through it. Now it's obviously the exit pipe that's slowing everything down. So as you can see, the exit pipe comes out here along the side, and if we come down this end, that's it underneath, down there, it then does a 90 this way and goes out there. It goes outside and then another 90 taking it across to the actual return pipe. So what I want to do is cut a couple of these. I will actually cut at least two of them 90s out and make this more direct. So I'm going to come down, go through the end of the shed and then across. So it will just have the 190 in there. And I'm going to use a rubber 90 as well, which are more swept than these that we've got on it at the moment. So what I've got to do is cut that pipe off, the one right down there. I've got to cut that off, put a connector on it to take it outside to another 90 that goes across. So that's what I've got to do inside. We'll take a look outside. Right, so the pipe, this is where it's coming out of at the moment and going into the pond return. I'm cutting it off there and I want to bring it out here because it comes down at the moment with a 90 into a 90, down to here to a 90 and into there. I just want it to come down 190 and into the return, which should improve the flow hopefully. The problem I've got is I've got to cut this pipe off here. Now I'm not sure when that's running of the water level in this pipe, which is a bit risky. I think if I shut the pond pump down, the water level will drop below this pipe, so there shouldn't be a lot of problem there. So I want to try to keep it running and try to keep the water going through the RDF, through the moving bed and to the return. It's just the Backy River I shall take out of the link. I'm going to turn the water off to the Backy River. I shall then keep the water in the Backy River. I want to keep that wet. The bacteria won't last 5 minutes if it starts to dry out, so we should lose that bacteria. So I want to keep the Backy River full, which is quite easy. I'll just shut it off at the RDF and the weir on the end will hold the water in the Backy River itself. So that's the job I've got, and the trouble is it's now starting to spit about with rain. So I'm hoping it's not going to come to much. I was just about to start doing it until this rain started spitting about, so I'm just going to hang on now and see if it does rain. It's going to stop play because I don't want to be working out here in the rain. So I'm going to give it a few minutes to see what happens weather-wise. And there we go, guys. Hope you can see that right down the bottom there. We're now going straight out. Outside is 190 and across to the return pipe. So we've now done away with two 90-degree bends, and it just shows how these 90-degree bends do actually affect the flow. We've got a much better flow over the weir now, passing a lot more water. We've got a good flow across there. I'm well pleased with that. A job well done. The reason initially I did come sort of across here and then out, as a lot of you'll remember, outside, just outside the shed here, I did have my holding tank, quarantine tank. I had that out there, so I couldn't take the pipe out that way. So I had to come across and then out to miss the quarantine tank. That was the reason I ended up doing it like that. But now I've got the quarantine tank in the harbour, I can go straight out and across. I've got the skimmer to empty still this morning. That's what it took out last night. About a third of a bucket of absolute dirt. So it's still doing a great job. And that's all the fines and everything in there, protein, everything. The old skimmer's still doing a good old job, the protein skimmer. I shall probably put it off during the winter. It's not quite so important, I don't think. But I'll leave it running while it's making skim it like that. I will leave it running. And like I say, I emptied it at about 11 o'clock last night, and that's what we've got this morning. Well, good morning everybody, yet again. Now I have been busy, and as you can see, I've got my new pond net on, which is way better. It's nearly transparent. You don't really know it's there compared to the one we had on. I'm really pleased with that. It's a good height and protecting the pond, and we can still see fish through it and everything. I'm really pleased with that. Excellent. I've used 10mm rods because my holes was a bit big for 8mm, so I've had to use 10mm. But yeah, I love it. It's excellent stuff, you can hardly see it. I'm pleased with that. Took me this morning and I got wet. That's why I didn't do much video. I did get rather wet, but I got it on. The other one, as you can see here, really did stand out, but this one is quite inconspicuous when you stand back. If you stand back here somewhere, you'd hardly know it was on. Well impressed with that. If anybody wants that fencing, it's on eBay. I think it's polypropylene, I'm not sure. It's polypropylene fencing, and it's on eBay if anybody wants it, and it's really good stuff. Right, well, as you can see there, I've got my pond covers out. You've probably seen on lots of other channels everybody's fitting the pond covers. I want to get them on, plus it'll be peace of mind from that heron. So once these are on, the heron won't even bother us because it won't even see the pond. But I've got them all out. The big thing now is they just want a good wash off, and then I've got to put the woods on the back of the pond across there, what they rest on. I can see that being quite fun, trying to get them on, because there's a lot of branches there that wasn't there last year. So I might have to do a little bit of pruning, but as you can see they're a lot higher than the covers will be. So it's not going to be an easy job, but it's got to be done, so I might as well get on with it. It's getting across that back bit and getting the struts in that's the worst. Putting the actual covers on isn't a problem. It's all that growth across the back. They do want a good washing off. They're pretty dirty. They've been at the back of the shed and they're covered in muck. So first thing on the agenda is to get them all washed off and cleaned up a bit. Okay, well, they're all washed off, washed down. I'm just going to let them dry out a little bit, let a lot of the water run off them. Now I get to the best bit. I've got to get the poles in along the back. Not looking forward to this at all, and I'm not videoing it because you'll only laugh. So I'm going to get that done next. Let's see if we can get the poles in the back there. Right, well, major trim in the pond. Took everything out that looked a bit sus. I've left it with some leaves. I don't know whether to trim it right back completely or not, but I'll leave it with some. I've trimmed the bushes right back so that we can actually get the back strut on. So now it's just a matter of getting my plants out. So that's the next job. I want all these plants out and I'll winter them in the holding tank. Right, well, that's got the plants out of the pond. All I've got to do is take them over to the quarantine tank. I've got it all ready and the water in it. So I've just got to take them over there. I'm just going to whip them brackets off and then start thinking about getting my covers on. It's getting pretty late, so I've got to get a move on. I've still got all that lot to deal with yet. So I've got plenty to do, and running out of time fast here. Well, that's clouded the pond up a little bit, but it's not until you do something like this that you actually appreciate just how big your pond is. Doesn't it look big now them plants are gone? It looks 10 times bigger. I'd forgotten what it looked like. But yeah, a bit cloudy, but that'll soon sort out. Wind's getting up quite bad now. So whether I'll bother putting them on, I might just put the fence back on tonight and then sort them out tomorrow. I'm running out of time. It's about 4:30 and I've still got plenty to do yet. I'll press on for a bit longer, see how far I get. Right, well this is where my plants are going to winter. I shall winter them in here. Not sure about that grass, whether to get rid of it or not. Can't make my mind up. But this is where they'll be for the winter. If it comes really cold I can drop the lid on it, but that's where they are anyway. We'll see how they get on. They got on alright in there last year, so hopefully they'll be okay again this year. Okay, the covers are on and it's raining. I'm spitting about, it's tried raining. It's still trying to rain actually, but the covers are on, all done and all ready for winter. I've rolled my net up. It's going to be put away now till next spring, but we're all done and all ready for winter. I mean, obviously it's not airtight. You don't want them airtight. That's the worst thing you can do, especially if you keep lilies and things in your pond like I do. But any fish waste, I mean, they're still feeding. My pond's down to about 13, so they're still feeding. I'm giving them half Medicoy's wheat germ and garlic and half of a low protein food, so I'm still feeding them. Any gases that collect in your pond, you've got to make sure they can get away. Whatever you do, don't seal the top because you need air under there. Basically what it's for is just to keep the frost off it. And like last year we got minus figures of wind chill. Well, if you can keep that cold wind off the top of your pond, it'll save it and stop it cooling it down as much as if you didn't have any. If you think you've got air hitting your pond at -3 or 4 degrees, that's what it's going to drop your pond to, because cold water, as you know, always goes down, so it's going to cool your pond down quicker than anything. What we're trying to achieve here is no major temperature changes. We're trying to slow them down, so if we got a really bad frost one night, the temperature change in my pond now is going to be a lot slower than if I hadn't got them on. So it's just a matter of keeping the worst elements out. That's what you don't want it. The worst is the chill factor. If you get a wind chill factor and minus figures, that'll make your pond dip like mad. And pond covers just stop all that. As you know, koi do not like temperature water change, especially if it's too quick. That's why you float your fish on your pond when you get a new one for 15 to 20 minutes before you release them in the pond. They do not like rapid changes in temperature. So we try to avoid them, and that's what all this is for. Anyway guys, I'm going to call that it for the day. Rain stopped play, but I've got what I wanted done, so I've had a good day. Now I really don't care about the heron. That spoiled its fun. Anyway, like I say, that's it for today. I'm going to go get some tea. Well, good morning everybody again. I did fit the pond covers yesterday, as you know, and today it's not too bad a day, so I've whipped a couple of them off. I'll leave that off. We keep getting a little bit of sun poking through now and again, so just to give them a bit of daylight and fresh air. Everything's all good in the pond, not a lot of problems there. The covers themselves didn't actually take a lot of fitting, it's just the preparation to get them put on. The outside temperature is about 15-16 degrees and the pond temperature is 14, so it can only help if we let a bit of nice air in there. It might just bring it up that little bit. I've probably got my covers on a little bit earlier than I wanted, but you never know what our weather's going to do, that's the problem. So they're on anyway, and like I've done, I can whip them off if I want and give them a bit of proper daylight so they don't end up a problem. They're feeding well, as you can see. They're all quite lively for this time of year, but like I say, the pond temperature is about 14, so it's not too bad for them at all. Well, as you can see, we've got a right miserable day here today, and I've also got some bad news. I had to put Nelly down yesterday. We've been through quite a lot, me and her, but she just got too bad. Within a week and a half of putting her back in the pond, she swelled up and her scales started sticking up again. I just couldn't seem to cure it no matter what I tried. I was alright while she was swimming about and looked fine, but she did actually go to the bottom and sit on the bottom with all her fins clamped, and I couldn't see her suffering, so I had to do it, I'm afraid. There was no way around it, but I did my best for her, and that's all one can do. So sadly Nelly's gone. For those of you that don't know, Nelly's a fish I've had 8 or 10 years, something like that probably, and she did develop problems, either liver or kidney problems. I did have the vet, which the vet confirmed it was something to do with the liver or her kidneys, not handling the fluids in her body, and she just kept filling up with water or fluids. I did put her in the quarantine tank, and we did manage to get her size down and her scales back down, but after a week and a half back in the pond she just went back to being swollen. But there you go, there's not a lot we can do about it. But to all you guys that's been asking about her, thank you very much. It is really appreciated, but there's nothing I could do in the end. I couldn't see her suffer. Well, hi everybody. It's about 14 here today, and I'm 13 in the pond, so I've whipped the covers up just to give them a bit of fresh air. It keeps trying to rain. I think it's going to rain again any minute, but I don't know what you'll see in there. See if I can get round. They're all looking good at the moment. You can see over here, yeah, getting big spots of rain, so I should say we're going to get another good old shower. But all's good in the pond. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm down in the big shed. We'll go down there before the camera gets wet. I'm down in here. This is going to be the new lid that fits over the sea filter. Keeps the water out because I've got a hole there, so I want to keep the water out of there. That's upside down, obviously, it'll go the other way up. But that's what I'm doing at the moment. That's what I'm spending my time doing in the shed, because it keeps raining. We've had rain, rain and more rain as usual, but I'm just waiting for that to go off a bit, and then I'm going to give it another coat. But that's all I can find to do at the moment. It was really cold last night, and I lost about half a degree out of the pond. It dropped down to about 7, I think, 6 or 7. I was on 13.8, something like that, and I'm running about 13.3 now. I lost about half a degree centigrade, that is. But you don't really want to watch me paint this thing, so what I'm going to do is bring this video to a close. I'd just like to say thanks for watching. You all take care, and as always, happy ponding.